What's up, guys? We're back with another banging video, and once again we're back with the anime archives, and this one is from one of the goats of anime YouTube, that being Mother's Basement. And this video is his how to start an anime, the art of the first episode guide. This was when anime was probably not even mentioned at that. We as viewers kind of had to try to figure out what we're going to watch, because obviously there wasn't that many around. And this guide was really helped me personally to know, what animes are good, but it also confirmed my biases of what were the best two. We'll find out later on in this episode, so check it out to see if you can guess the best two series will have the best first episodes. But let's get straight into it.
Sure, we're all familiar with the 3-episode rule, but who actually has time for it? In my opinion, it is much more preferable for a show to sink its hooks into you in just one episode. But what goes into creating that perfect episode, that perfect introduction to a series? Today, we're going to look at some of the best first episodes in anime history to try to answer that question.
Let's get it.
Episode 0 of Kato: The Right Answer, a spring 2017 anime that blew me away right from the start and has continued to do so with each successive episode. You can check out Kato and most of the other shows I'm about to talk up streaming in HD on Crunchyroll. Watching anime on Crunchyroll supports the creators of your favorite shows,
The
and their
UI
of
Crunchyroll has gone leaps and bounds
makes it
since
a
then.
breeze to keep track of everything you're watching. You can see what I'm talking about for yourself and watch all of these great anime by heading to crunchyroll.com/basement to sign up for a 30-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium. Now, there are as many potential ways to start a TV series as there are stars in the sky. But if you're telling a long-form story and you want to hook people right at the start, there are 3 things that you absolutely need to do.
What are those 3 things?
You have to make us like your characters, you have to give us an interesting goal for them to follow, and you have to surprise us. Let's look at how some of the best anime out there.
So what was that? Good character, goal, and make us want to, and make us, what was the last one? Make us enjoy it. I completely agree with all of those. For me, I'll even say the art style. If it's a trash art style, I cannot get behind it. Without the art style, I'll even put above all of those. I just can't watch it. Shows like God Eater, Berserk. These 2 shows particularly, it's like amazing stories. But the art style, that 3D art style, throw the whole anime in a bin. The anime art style makes or breaks it. Or even the art style, the animation, I was probably more accurate to say, makes or breaks it. But let's keep going.
Make that happen. You have to make us like your characters, you have to give us an interesting goal for them to follow, and you have to surprise us. Let's look at how some of the best anime out there accomplish those goals. A key element of any great introduction is that it leaves you wanting more, and the most important step in doing that is making us care about the continuing fate of the people who inhabit your world. That means that they need to be written in a way that allows us to relate to them, but with a level of depth that cements them as their own person. It's hard to care about a blank slate. Of course, what exactly good writing entails is going to vary wildly depending on genre and the story.
That being said, the self-insert isekai characters have really been arranged in the last couple of years, but naturally this time in anime was very different. We actually got so much variety in our characters, but I guess this is how the times change. People want isekai characters, and
your show is trying
the market demands what it wants.
There is one secret ingredient that you need to make this work. Restraint. Writers, I get it. You have all of these great concepts that form the basis for your world, and you've dreamed up all these wonderful, interesting characters to inhabit it, but it takes time for an audience to grow attached to anything. And in 23 minutes, you really only have time to properly acquaint us with 2 or maybe 3 major characters and 1 or 2 of those really interesting ideas. If you front-load your show with a world-building exposition dumper, kick things off by introducing us to so many characters that you need to put name tags on them, nobody will care. You can give us a large supporting cast right off the bat, be they simple, disposable stereotypes or interesting characters in their own right who hold the promise of later development, but you can only ever properly flesh out a few of them, so you'd better put your best foot forward. That means it's often best to focus on the story's core duo or maybe trio. Edward and Alphonse Elric, Akane and Kogami, Lawrence and Holo, Taiga and Ryuji, Simone and Kamina, Eren, Mikasa and Armin, Yotaro, Yakumo and Konatsu, Mugen, Jin and Fu. Hell, even Kirito and Klein, which makes it all the more baffling that Klein gets sidelined so dang hard in every subsequent episode. And Kato does a great job of this. I'm gonna be saying that a lot, by the way. Kojiro Shindo's eccentricity and clear brilliance makes him fascinating, if a little difficult to relate to, but that's what Shun Hanamori is there for. His lackadaisical attitude and simple desire for a vacation are eminently relatable, and his friendship with Shindo gives us a point of reference for understanding him. The 2 characters have a Holmes and Watson chemistry that's very fun to watch, and I'd be on board just to watch them bounce off each other and whatever other quirky characters the writers invent for each new episode. But the show also gets us attached to a big idea that, well, we'll get to that. If less is more when it comes to character introductions, then it could be argued that focusing on just one character will give you the best results. And while One Punch Man's introduction to Saitama provides a great example of this, I can think of few more striking introductions to a single character than the way we meet Yusuke Urameshi at the start of Yu Yu Hakusho. The first moment you see Yusuke, he's jumping out in front of a car to save a little kid. The next, he's dead, a disembodied spirit who can do nothing but watch as the ambulance carts his corpse away. It immediately leaves you wondering how he got there, and a flashback immediately begins filling you in. From the get-go, it's clear that he's a delinquent who causes nothing but trouble for his mother and his childhood friend Keiko. His fighting and bad grades are a big headache for his school, and the closest thing he has to a male friend is fellow thug Kuwabara, who's constantly challenging him to fights. Yusuke is not a happy kid, and as far as he's concerned, the few people he cares about would be better off without him. So when a mysterious and weirdly sexy spirit lady offers to revive him as a reward for his uncharacteristic heroism, and because they've run out of space in the afterlife, it only makes sense that he would turn her down. She gives him time to mull it over at his own wake, and there he mostly sees what he expects: students showing up for extra credit and not caring, and teachers bad-mouthing him over his dead body. But he's taken by surprise when Keiko and Kuwabara are broken down with grief at his passing, and his principal breaks down crying too, mourning his lost potential. And then there's his mother, who's such a wreck that she can't move. All of these people he saw as giving him a hard time were just trying to connect with him, trying to help him do better and be happy.
Trying to
he
care.
just couldn't see it. But his death removes all that pretense, and the revelation that those closest to him might be worse off without him gives him a new lease on life. This episode gets me every time I watch it. This is such a fantastic introduction, not just because we're given a full 23 minutes to be introduced to his personality, but because we see not just the worst of Urameshi, but also the buried good that others see within him. He's a punk, sure, but he can be better if he tries, and he wants to try, and we as an audience want to see him try and succeed, and pay back everyone who cares about him. This is the real essence of making a relatable character, highlighting the part of their arc that's universal so that the stranger things that make them unique can be understood by everyone. Not everyone is going to immediately identify with a street punk who gets in fights all the time and skips classes, but almost everyone can grasp dissatisfaction with authority figures and the basic desire to be appreciated by those around you. Yusuke is a likable yet incomplete character, and the show has given him a clear path forward for bettering himself, one that we want to see him follow, which leads us nicely to the next point. Your viewers care about your cast is only half the battle. You also need to get them excited to see where your story can go from there. You need to have a blueprint for how your story can move forward, if not exactly where it's headed, to give both your characters and your viewers a reason to keep going. In other words, you need to define a central goal for your characters to pursue. Even if you're setting up a story that you can keep expanding on forever, this is important. I want to become Hokage. I want to be king of the pirates. I want to be the greatest superhero in the world. I want to get my old body back. That's a common one. A good protagonist needs this kind of desire to pull them forward. They also need to have some kind of roadblock in their way. Otherwise, there's nothing to stop them from ending the series right away. Satoru has to stop the killer in the past to save his mom, but he doesn't know who the killer is, and first he has to save
one of the best 12
Ed and Al need to find a philosopher's stone to correct their mistakes, but every lead comes up false. Ryuko needs to defeat Satsuki to find her father's killer, but she has to beat the student council first. Saitama wants to find just one more good fight, but he's so strong that no one can take him. I could pick almost any of these to talk about, but there's one series that I want to acknowledge here for having one of the strongest first episodes that I've ever seen. Sword Art Online. Yes, you heard that correctly, and no, you don't have brain damage, and neither do I.
It is true. I've said this so many times on this channel alone. Sword Art Online must be the most overhated anime in all time. Because this and the one anime they'll show after this, which I've obviously given it away because I've seen this video years ago. Attack on Titan and Sword Art Online, to this day, has the best first episode anime. When we talk about characters, what he said, Kirito being very charismatic in the game. He's skillful. We're like, okay, who is this guy? Oh, he's pretty cool, isn't he? He's skillful. He's mentoring this newbie. Seems a bit honorable, and he's talented. Okay, that takes that. Oh, second one, the goal. Kayaba comes out this guy. Oh, you all trapped in the game. If you die in the game, you die in real life. Come on, that's not stakes. What else is there? First episode, first intensity. We see everyone's feelings, everyone's emotions, the reality is sinking in, trapping them in. That's amazing in terms of making us care about the situation immediately. And naturally, the surprise, obviously, die in the game, die in real life. This is, mind you, one of the earliest adoptions of isekai. So this whole transport to another world, this game mechanic, this die in the game, die in real life, this hasn't been done before. It was all kind of like traditional fantasy, like your Zero Notes to Tsukumi and stuff like that. This was a predicator of what this isekai survival kind of games really was all about. But yeah, this episode holds down for me. Incredible episode. That alone makes Sword Art Online one of the best parts of it, I would personally say. But let's keep going.
Your computer speakers are working fine too. SAO is still a terrible anime, but its first episode
Lies.
is really good. So good that it basically tricked me into watching the rest of the series, and that's because of how effectively it establishes a compelling goal for its characters. Kirito, and also 10,000 other people who don't matter because they're not, trapped in the world's first virtual MMORPG, Sword Art Online. The game's creator, Kayaba Akihiko, has developed a bit of a god complex, and in order to escape, the characters have to clear all 100 of the game's raid dungeons and reach its ending. Oh yeah, and if they die in the game, or someone tries to unplug them, they die in real life. And I mean, theoretically, someone could just stick a lead or possibly even aluminum sheet between the back of their necks and the nerve gear to dissipate the microwaves, but no! Bad Jeff, you're supposed to be nice to SAO this time. You die in the game, you die for real is a cliched cliche at this point. Making fun of it is as played out as doing the trope straight. But I'll be damned if SAO doesn't present it in a unique manner. The horror-inspired camera work and editing here gives the show a real air of menace that sets it apart from its contemporaries, and that I really wish it had kept up. In most cases, the idea of being trapped playing a video game sounds kinda cool, to be honest, but SAO leaves no question that its players are gonna have a bad time. It creates a pressing need to get out as quickly as possible, which makes the roadblocks the show sets up that much more intimidating. On the one hand, the actual clearing of the game is a hell of a task that's going to require insane grinding and have an immense human cost. Just look at how much it took to kill one low-level boar in this game. On the other hand, Kirito specifically has the problem that he's an antisocial dork who thoroughly dislikes interacting with other people, as is conveyed beautifully through the contrast between the inconvenient, painful, and dull real world and the vibrant, colorful computer world. Kirito is given a clear goal right at the start of the series and put under immense pressure to complete it. And since his personality hasn't yet been min-maxed out of his stat sheet to make room for more hacking skills, you actually do want to cheer for him. This awkward dork who doesn't know how to make friends is gonna have a tough time of it in this death game. Or, you know, he would if Reki Kawahara had the wherewithal to follow the great blueprint he laid at the start of the series. Unfortunately, SAO goes well and truly off the rails very quickly, but to its credit, this opening episode was good enough to keep me hoping that it would get better long past the point where it was obvious that it wouldn't. Of course, not every storyline supports having this sort of clear-cut motivation, and your go-to fallback, if that's the case, is the burning question that needs to be answered. Why did I wake up naked with a revolver next to the White House? Who or what killed that missing girl after we found her? Pursuing the answers to these questions leads characters to their true goals. Kato does this exceptionally well, I warned you, putting one incredibly pressing question in our minds that will run through them all day after the episode wraps. What? 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 But I'm getting ahead of myself. How it does that brings us right into our next point. Last but not least, and also sometimes not last, is the oh shit moment. The moment that changes everything. The scene that makes your audience sit up and take notice. The part that makes them say, oh shit. This is the moment when we realize that the protagonist's journey is going to be much more difficult than they first expected. Or the moment that we as an audience realize that all of our assumptions about the story are wrong. It's the moment that gets our mind racing with questions and makes us eager to see what will happen next. This is the colossal titan showing up out of the blue to kick down the wall. Subaru experiencing his first return by death. The epic Sawano drop that begins I'll Know a Zero. This can take many forms. It can be a moment of brutal intensity like Kabanere's Ikoma curing his zombie bite in the most metal way possible, or seeing the darker side of the civil system laid bare as it drives a latent criminal over the edge and then turns him into pulp. It can be an emotional gut punch that makes you realize, no, you definitely don't have enough tissues for this shit, like the old lady saying a too early goodbye to her robot granddaughter in the first episode of Plastic Memories. Or it can be a simple upending of genre conventions, like Haru declaring his love for Shizuku in the first episode of My Little Monster, the entire cast of Gare Zero getting slaughtered the second they think they're safe, or Saitama turning Vaccine Man into mist right at the start of One Punch Man. And yes, some anime do front-load this reveal, using it to catch your attention right at the start of the story. Eden of the East is a great example. There are few things more attention-grabbing or intriguing than a naked man running up to the White House with a revolver and a cell phone. Many anime stake their entire opening episodes on the power of this one scene, and if it's strong enough, it can totally upend an otherwise mundane production. Gakko Garashi seems like a boring, run-of-the-mill, dare I say it, kind of bad moe club show, until it's revealed that all the moe shenanigans are delusions that Yuna is using to cope with a full-on zombie apocalypse. That one twist shifts your perspective on the rest of the episode, which is a bit of a slog the first time you watch it, but becomes genuinely brilliant on repeated viewing for all of its subtle deceptions. My favorite oh shit moment in recent memory, and the main reason that I wanted to make this video in the first place, comes from Kato the Right Answer Episode 0. The turn that the story takes at the end of this episode is so monumental and so out of the blue that it leaves your mind racing, wondering what could possibly come next. Kato spends almost the entirety of its first episode's runtime getting you invested in the buddy bureaucrat antics of Kojiro Shindo and Shun Hanamori, and right at the end of this plot, it hits you with a twist. The Diet member who brought them on was only trying to shut down the factory because the owner was his old friend and he wanted to buy the land to
I think we'll end this video here for today, purely because I haven't watched this series he's doing now. But yeah, How to Start Anime, great episode by Mother's Basement. And it is true, for me, the first episode, well, probably for everyone, the first episode is just so important, especially in this kind of stage of like the seasonal anime, what we do now. It's like, if you're waiting 1 week per week for something to be watched something, the first episode has to be really like to grab your attention with all the different kind of anime we have today. we have to be really rather selective of what we choose to watch and what's worth watching. So the first episode does have to convey a lot. For me, I will personally prioritize it as one, the anime art style and anime art style in terms of how it looks. If that's not there, I can't rock with it. I'm sorry. No matter how great the story is. Two, the character designs. Once again, it's all in the visual to begin with. Does this character look cool? And can I get behind him? If he looks like some kind of loser, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, probably not, but just look good. Thirdly, then we can say the premise. The premise, once the premise is there, okay, this is about X. This is about this guy trying to defeat the demon lord. Cool. This is about this guy trying to get the girl. Cool. Okay. I know what I'm working with. I can either choose to accept or decline. And this one we'll take forward. And then four, there are other characters. And then five, kind of like the world building, but that's kind of premise. But that's for me personally. And that was the video. I hope you like these videos because I might plan to make this kind of like the mainstay of this channel, the anime archives, looking back, because there's so much to watch in terms of this catalog of YouTube content we have here, and some will be more nostalgic than others, but that's just part of the journey, part of reflecting, and part of looking back on these videos to see how far anime YouTube has really come. But that's been the video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on next one. Ciao.